All right. So welcome everyone to the call. Over the next hour and a bit, depends on how the sharing goes and how much interaction we're going to have with you. We're going to be going through essentially what we've defined as the 6 essential P's. There's actually 8 P's that we use in this, but there's 6 that are totally essential, which are all around running highly profitable campaigns. And our job this evening or today with you is to really allow you to kind of get a sense of the different ways that you can actually be doing your marketing differently. That's going to help you create highly profitable campaigns, even when they fail, and they will fail. Let's all be clear. There's there's lots of top marketers on here and sales guys on here and entrepreneurs on here. So you all know that when you go out there, we're going to fail. So what's going to help you when you do fail, so that you can, as a mentor of mine would say, fail forward. That means that you stay in the game, that you take the learning and you move forward. And more so, let's make sure that we fail profitably, so that when it all looks, we look at the bank account at the end of the campaign, we go, great, we're still okay, we're still living through this, and we're going to be okay. So let's ask these 3 questions. Who on the call here looks at their current business and says, I need more leads? Yep. Let's get a sense of who's on the call who's looking for more quality leads to come in, because I know that some of you guys have got great quality leads.
It's kind of always one of these 3, isn't it, John? I mean, when we're talking to past clients and people we've worked with and people we're working with, it's always like, what do you find is the greatest value in working with us? And if we could fix any one of these 3, which one? Well, what is it that you'd love us to fix in your business? What's your immediate focus? And it's nearly always one of these 3.
Yep.
So we've got a whole bunch of people going, yes, please, more leads.
Yep. And you can see the next one: convert more into sales or better leverage your time and your value. And obviously time is a big part of that. So just put number 2 or number 3 in if you haven't done number 1 already. Put number 2 if number 2 is more like something that you're looking at going, yeah, I actually need to convert more into sales, or number 3, I need to actually leverage my value or my time more effectively. Let's see what numbers are in there. So 3s.
Thanks, Eileen. Lovely to have you on the call. Yeah. or of course, the other option, John, is like D, all of the above, right? We hear that one quite a bit too.
Thanks,
Damien. Have you on the line.
The hidden number 4. Ideally all. Okay, got it. Yes. All right. We're oh, good. Yeah. Thanks, Faye. Got it.
Thanks, Faye. Okay,
so we're gonna deal with all 3 of these.
Kathy too, lovely. Hi, Kathy.
Excellent. So we're gonna deal with probably more around the leads, but we're gonna do it in a way that it's gonna really understand the way that we talk about each thing that we go through is all about how do we set up the sale so that the sale is so effortless, because we've set the lead up so well. And of course, when we look at in any strategy, which is, what are we doing in that strategy that automatically gives you best leverage in your approach? So it's not just about, hey, I'll use an example of someone like I don't know, somebody who does a specific strategy of marketing, who says, well, if you do this marketing, you follow this approach. Actually, some of you will relate to this. I'm going to do a whole bunch of videos that are going to address a specific target market and a specific, and I'm going to be having all those videos that talk to those people who are searching for that phrase. And I'm going to do 50 of those, and that's going to be the strategy, because that's a highly effective strategy, and therefore I'm going to do it. What we're going to talk about is what's the right kind of strategy for you that's going to help you get really thanks, Damien. What's the kind of strategy that's really going to help you most effectively, that's going to give you the best leverage, and it's going to give you the energy, and it was going to put you in a place where when you go and actually do that, you're going to want to go do that every single day because it's going to be effortless for you. So is that okay with everyone? Yep. Read my mind? Great. Yes, good.
Sounds good to me, John. We're getting some good feedback on the Q&A as well. It sounds like we're in the right room, so to speak.
So most of you, I think most of the people on the call here have a bit of a background on us, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through why am I here today and what is it that that I've been up to, and I'm going to then ask Patrick to share his as well, that has us even talking to you guys about this and sharing this experience. And essentially what you see on the screen over here is basically a snippet of the last 4 years of myself and my wife making a commitment to leaving Australia and going to live in Bali. And that commitment came off the back of me leaving a multi-million-dollar IT business that I'd built up over 10 years in Australia, and previously to that, probably 15 years in South Africa. Leaving behind a whole bunch of ideas and strategies and businesses that I was working with to change my lifestyle and to change the way that I could live each day, and to give myself and my wife a whole different a different life, a different experience of life. And the interesting thing is, of course, we ended up in Bali. We ended up helping a great mentor of mine, Roger Hamilton, with his own program, which is a 30-day business incubator, and facilitating that for a year. Over 10. I think we ran 10 of them before, 7 of them in the first year, and basically, working with all these entrepreneurs to see how we could, what we could do and how we could help them to set up a global enterprise. And we've got some of those people even on the call this evening, so that's great. And what I noticed when working with all of them was this one thing, and the one thing was that number one, when they got their true value, when they got the process and the strategy that was going to work for them, they instantly accelerated forward, and they moved forward with clarity and a new sense of belief in themselves. And on top of that, what I noticed was when they left that 30-day business incubator, a lot of them also had difficulty actually then completing completing on the projects that they started, completing on doing the things that they said they would do, because the first person they were giving up on was themselves. They were, it's that same old question, which is, who's the first person you're going to let down? And every time I ask that question, everyone gets and points at themselves and says, yeah, it's going to be me. So, we set up a program to essentially support the people coming through these programs to say, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to hold your hand for the next, when you finish with this, or anyone who's coming in new, we're going to hold your hand for 8 weeks, and we're going to help you implement all the things that you wanted to do. And for people who haven't done this program, we would sit with them beforehand and work out the strategy up front, so that when they came in the program, they, we are holding hands, but we're holding their hands from a place of clear direction. So this has been really interesting, that going from running our own business, running very successful business, doing a whole bunch of different things and trying different things out online as well, and seeing what worked and what didn't work, and then leaving and going to Bali. You had to do things differently. You had to work out things differently. And what happens when you're in a different country and you don't have the people you can just go rely on and go walk down the road and go to a networking meeting or something like that? You've got to work out how to do this online. You've got to work out how to create relationships and partnerships and do this in a way that has you as a truly global citizen. And then, of course, you'll see the opportunities I've had since then is to speak on stage and all over Australia, and that's been fun. of course, I've had the greatest privilege of adopting a beautiful daughter in the bottom left-hand corner there, and having a whole different journey personally as a direct result of us making the commitment to taking action and moving towards what we truly wanted in our lives. So that's a little bit about me, and I'd love to have you, Pat. I'd love you to share a little about your journey as well, because you've made massive shifts and huge commitments with a family of 5 to come over to Bali, and you live there now too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, John. I wonder if you've got some great. You do have some photos of me. I was just saying, we've got all these beautiful photos of you, and look at that. You've been stalking me on Facebook or something. I see people in these photos who are on this call tonight. Well, that's exciting. So yeah, I mean, John and I worked together in the Gold Coast years ago, and we were mountain biking and hanging out and promoting and doing what we do. And it wasn't so long after that John moved over here, and he's kind of been hassling me to come over and join him in Bali ever since. And I always thought it was like a nice idea, but okay for you, John, but I couldn't do that, right? So finally he got the leverage on me and said, how about you come over and let's do this. So my wife's from Sweden, and the 2 girls you see, Laura and Katya, my identical twin girls, they're 7 years old now. They were born in Stockholm. So we'd already moved country, more than once, and we've been living on the Gold Coast for 5 years. And we thought, look, about time for a change. And again, like John was saying, it's like when you make this commitment, we need to make some changes here. How do we make this work? How do we have our business work so that we can, have clients everywhere, and we can truly be anywhere and still have this thing work? So that was our first big, immediate challenge. And what it's, just even in asking that question, it's opened up such opportunity for us, because we stop thinking locally, we start thinking globally. We stop thinking about, just our state, our city, our country. We start thinking about the whole world. And it's the beautiful thing about that is that my value, my top value is always service. It's service at the highest level, and it's how can I grow to give more service? What do I need to learn? Who do I need to become to be able to provide a greater level of service, to bring more joy, to bring more value to the people that I care about? And you see the kids there on the down the bottom. I'm not sure if you can see. No, Minna's probably the one taking those photos. So you won't see my wife there, and my 5-year-old son Jack. Looks like we haven't got him in there either. But it's like, these are the people I care about the most. And I was listening to it was actually Dr. John DeMartini on the Global Impact Summit just recently, and he said, if you just care about yourself, you're probably always going to struggle. And if you care about your family, you'll do okay, but not great. But if you care about your community and a little bit wider, and the people outside of that, then your family is always going to be fine. And I kind of thought of the example of, the chief of the village, his family's always fine, but he's got to take responsibility for the whole village, right? And then he went on to say, if the further you stretch your sphere of people that you care for and that you take responsibility for and that are going to come under your protection, then the greater influence you have. So, the next step is, if you care for your whole nation, then your village is always going to be okay, right? If you care for the whole tribe, like the capital city is always the one that's protected because they're taking care of the whole country, right? And then he went on to say, if you care for the whole planet, then your nation will be okay, right? So it's always like one step less, and that really had a big impact on me. And it's like this journey that we've been on is how can we care for more people? How can we look after and serve more people? How can we protect more people from going broke, from being dorky in their sales, from having marketing that sucks, from really not having the impact in their community that they could be having if they could just get this kind of basic stuff right. Then they can go out and connect with more people, have a far greater impact, and really leave a legacy that's worthy of them. So that's what's driving me. You'll see down the bottom there, John's found the picture from the Global Impact Summit where we were on with Paul Dunn just recently. So, so many exciting opportunities like this that, probably just may not have ever happened if we had have stayed home and just kept thinking about our local community and not stretched ourselves to think about how we could serve more people. So I think that's quite enough about me, John. Thanks so much for indulging me, everybody, and allowing me to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is myself. However, what I'd love to talk about even more than that is one of my even more favorite subjects, which is definitely, well, for my part of it is the sales side. And it's point 2 on the thing is how do we convert those leads that we're generating into paying clients, and how do we do that in a way that honors people, that nurtures people, and really how do we sell from the heart? So, we definitely get into a little bit of that. And, of course, you can't do that if you don't have good people already putting their hand up saying, oh, that's me. I'm that person with that problem looking for that solution right now. Can I talk to you about that? And that's where, John is just an absolute genius. He's just so brilliant at that. He calls it audience awakening, which is, I use the story, if you imagine right now in your business, and actually I'd love to hear what businesses are represented on the call. So if you could pop in the Q&A, just, a little bit about like your business. It's hard to speak and read. I'm male and have trouble multitasking, so don't write an essay, but just the name or the nature of your business, so that's just enough that we can get a sense of who's represented here. And just imagine that in your business right now, that, even probably just within a few kilometers of you, if not your whole city or your country, let alone the whole planet, there would be, dozens and dozens, if not hundreds or thousands of people who would gladly give you money for your product or service today if they knew about it, right? If they only knew about you. So the question is, how do you identify them, right? Or better yet, how do you get them to identify themselves? How do you get them to put their hand up and say, that's me, right? I'm that guy with that problem, looking for that solution. Please, can we talk? Please, can you take my money? Please, can we work together? Can you, I want to have that transformation in my life in whatever it is you do. So that is the topic for conversation. Thank you so much for showing up for this, to allow John and I to talk about what we love. And John, let's get into it. We've got some cool businesses here. You seeing all these pop up?
Wow. Yeah, absolutely.
Film production company, hydroponic and aquaponics, veggies and fish.
Yeah.
Business transformation. I help businesses to change and become future ready. Create businesses that are sustainable in a world of rapid change. Who doesn't want that? Right. Financial coaching, Covey's sphere of influence model. Bless.
Nice.
So thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna share a few of that on this course, a few examples of that as well. So this is just for you to put your own hand up there. Who on the call has a great idea of product or service, or has already created the product or service, but you've not actually sold anything yet? In other words, you don't have anything that people have yet. So it could be the financial coach. You actually haven't got a person to coach yet, or it could be the video producer. You actually haven't produced an internet ad yet, or I don't know how to say produced. Actually, produce it for somebody who's a paying client. Who's in that side there? Just give yourself a little internal hands up, and then I want to ask the second question, which is this one here: who already has the great product or service and just needs more clients? So, like, yes, I've actually got it. I've sold enough of them, so therefore I know, and I've people have done used the product and they involved with our service, but we just need more clients. So give it a little internal hands up for yourself there, because those are the two primary things, internal or you can tell us as well. Great. So those are the two major parts that we see, and some of it comes down to producing a product that's actually right for a market and all that type of thing. The other part is just actually I've got something great. I've had people doing it, and I've been working with this for a long time now. And geez, man, if I could just get more clients, that would be fantastic, as Patrick was saying earlier. So let's go and have a look at what it is that it takes to build this, and you'll see I've got 8 essential P's down the left-hand side, and you'll see that we're going to go through most of these P's. We're not going to do through each one because, like I said, I'm just going to talk to you essentially about the 6. But what I want to do is speak to you from a point of sharing some stories And in the stories, I know that you'll see yourself, and you'll see some opportunities for yourself to potentially shift and change the way that you're thinking right now as well.
And in fact, can we do a super quick check-in on that one, John? Because, I mean, we can just talk about theory, and we can just talk about here's the 6 Ps, and we can get into plenty of detail about it, show you exactly how to do it. And what we thought might be a bit more entertaining for you, a bit more engaging, but also more revealing, more insightful for you, was to share real-world examples of how people are actually using this in their business and in their lives to get a tangible bottom-line result. So maybe just a quick, well, actually, no need to answer to it, but if you'd rather, just the detail of the strategy, let us know that. Otherwise, we're going to presume, if we don't hear from you, that we have your permission to share some stories, and you think that's going to be the more engaging way to go. And we've got no response, so that's perfect. Let's get some examples. And examples are always good. Thanks, Virginia. Perfect.
Excellent. So here's, I'm gonna give you some examples of some people that we've worked with, some people that we've had one-on-one calls with, all different levels. So these are all people that have either done a consult with us, or actually worked with us over long term, or people that we're actually working with and potentially even delivering a service for at the same time. This first one is a lady who I met in Brisbane just recently, and she came down and she had a chat to me, and basically spent about half an hour talking to me about this website, Big Love Connection. And if any of you were on watching what's a current affair last week or earlier this week, you would have actually seen this website and an interview with her on a current affair, and it's all all because she's been doing quite a lot around larger size and different size clothing in the past, and she's got obviously a good connection with them in the past. So they've interviewed her, and they ran a current affair with her this week. And basically the main thing around here was, when she came and had a chat to me, her primary focus around this was to say, you know what, John, my biggest issue right now is getting a whole bunch more people on the site, so we can actually get a whole buzz around the site, and advertising to that, and budgets to do that advertising and bring people in, and just getting it really going. And her hope was that the current affair interview would really help her with those numbers. And after about 3 or 4 minutes in the conversation, I said to her, what if the number one part of your campaign was, or your main focus of campaign right now wasn't actually finding more people to put on this website? And she looked at me, she said, well, what do you mean by that? I said, well, what if that isn't where the best value of your efforts should be put right now? Consider that there are far better ways to actually leverage your time right now, leverage your energy, and create far bigger income. And she basically looked at me and went, well, give me a clue. So we got down to this thing called the promise, and that's why I'm sharing this one on here. I said to you, what is your promise of this of the site? And she goes, well, the promise is this: plus size singles, and find your loved one on that. That's I'm looking to put 1 million people through this, and she actually had a bigger number over the next year. And we discussed that, and we got down to the fact that if we've got 1 million people on there this year, be they members or non-members, actually people actually just coming and using the site and coming in, and some of them giving a percentage of them actually converting into members, that would be a good number. And I went, great. Who would see value in that? And she goes, well, the members would.
Oh.
No. Not forget about the members. It's got nothing to do with the members. Who would see value in those people showing up, that many people showing up on a website? She goes, advertisers. I said, yeah, you've got this advertising thing right up there. I said, even more so, who else would want to, what level of person would see great value in that? And I had to give her a clue around this whole idea of, well, who are your partners? Who are your branding champions? Who are the people who not only are advertising with you, but are actually branding themselves and associating them with your brand because of the level of the promise that you're making? Now, at that stage, the current affair program hadn't run. So, part of the conversation was to leverage the fact that was going to run in those conversations that we had with them, because that would obviously give even a bigger impact in there. So that was part of the conversation with her, to say, well, if you were to speak to some partners and say, hey guys, I'm looking for 2 partners to partner with us and be our branding partners on this site for the next 12 months with the first option to continue. And this is the promise of this website: 1 million unique visitors to that over the next year, with X percentage of them converting into members and being on there more often. Obviously, lots more people revisiting. And I'm looking for just 2 partners to do that. And that's a $10,000 a year position and partnership. And basically, I'm going to keep it down to 2, and I'm looking for the first 2 who want to come with me on this journey. I'm going to give that to you at 50% this year, so just $5,000 each, as well as what we're going to do is I'm going to give you an option to have a specific discount next year, and you're going to have first option on holding that space as well. Do you think that would be valuable to them? She went, yeah, wow. Absolutely. So I said, do you know anyone who'd even consider that? She goes, I've been in this industry for years. I know all of the big players and who look after this target market. I could go to them straight away. I said, okay, let's put that up there. What about the advertisers? What if we did something similar to them as well? So we worked out about a $60,000 worth of income that she could create, pretty much by doing one strategy, and this strategy first, which was going out, talking to people about the promise of her site, making sure that she had that secured, those guys secured first, and off the back of securing them, they would market this for her as well, because as them being a partner and even an advertiser, the moment they start marketing to this and everyone else is marketing to it, because we have that as a part of the agreement, suddenly we have instant cross-pollination. We have people who are coming through all the target market from the various people who are looking for this target market as well. So that also would take a huge amount of stress off her even thinking about her advertising and all that type of thing, because she'll just get this massive flood coming through as she does that launch off there. A whole different conversation to the one that she started with, which was, I don't even have a budget big enough to fill this to the level that I want to fill it. How the hell do I even start it? So I start this conversation with this. Who here, and then I want to put this out to you, who here really gets the difference in that one strategy? Just say, yeah, I get that, and if you agree with it or not, just acknowledge that there's different strategies and different things to do based on a number of different aspects. Yep.
And thanks so much, John. I mean, what an extraordinary difference it's made to her. In really, there's 2 parts to this, and 2 reasons we share this story. One is, can you use this in your business? What value do you have in internet traffic to potential marketers and partners and advertisers and that kind of thing? And we've recently been having a conversation around how the most valuable commodity in the 21st century isn't gold and silver and precious metals and gemstones. It's not food or livestock or anything like that. It's not even machinery and technology and robotics. The most valuable commodity in the 21st century is, in fact, internet traffic. And if you can control the flow of that, if you can turn it on and turn it off and direct it, that is proven to be the most valuable commodity in the 21st century. So she's saying, you know, I've got 1 million of this valuable commodity happening here over the next 12 months, obviously hugely valuable to different businesses and advertisers to want to get in front of that. So that's one part. It's like, how could you use this in this particular idea in your business? But really the main reason that we share this is she never would have seen this opportunity in a business, not because she's not intelligent, because she's a very switched on lady, but just because she's too close to it. So just to ask yourself, you know, how can I step back and see the opportunities that are missing, that are right under my nose in my business? What am I missing in my business? And we do the same. That's why we have mentors. That's why we have coaches. That's why we get other opinions in our business, because we know we're so close to it. We're going to miss the obvious, and you know, you go the long way around, you go the hard way around, or you know, all that funny things that as humans we tend to do.
Perfect. And it's really interesting. I'm just reading some of your comments there. Yeah, and some of us are saying, yeah, we've great strategy, and you know, great to pre-sell, and you know, done that before, which is fabulous. It's great that you guys are thinking that as well. She had spent pretty much a year in developing this website and thousands of dollars in getting it to this level. And you know, had we met her then, it would have been a whole different conversation again. So you know, it's interesting that we all have different natural ways of doing things, and some of our natural way is to build and to perfect before we start. Some is a natural way to get out and pre-sell before we have anything, and you know, a whole bunch of other ways as well.
Brilliant. Hey John, 8 Ps. Let's get a hustle on.
Yeah.
we could talk all night about any one of these things.
Great. All right. So I'm just trying to see where we are.
This is a cracker.
Yeah. So
looks great on the screen. It looks perfect there.
Okay. So Louise is one of these people who love to perfect. If I think many people would understand the wealth dynamic profile. She's a very structured person. She's a mechanic profile for those who know wealth dynamics, which means she loves to put things together that are, you know, really, really perfect before she will even consider going to her audience. And that's right for her, and that's great. So our job with Louise was all about helping her get to that level of perfection by, number one, working with her to find the right kind of target market to work with, but more so, not more so. Once we knew that you would find the way that you get to a target market through a certain way that she did, then she would be really clear on what her marketing material would look like, and she'd be really comfortable in doing all of that. So we needed to really make sure that that she was comfortable with all of the different parts of it, all of the processes, all of the different questions needed to be answered, because she needs a lot of detail before she can make decisions, or she feels that she can make decisions. And I know that we've got some lords on the call as well, people who are very beautifully structured in the way that you guys do that. So Pat, do you want to take us through to a bit of this story, so it's not just me sharing all the way?
Well, John, look, as you know, getting me to talk isn't the problem. It's getting me to shut up that can be the interesting part of all of this.
I can mute you.
Yeah. Well, we just watch the comments, right? If it's like, right, Pat's been talking too much, we get it already.
Yeah.
Extraordinary. And Louise has asked us not to share the specific strategy. So unfortunately, and that's totally appropriate for her too, because again, being a lot of steel energy, she wants to protect this brilliant idea that we've helped her put together. And the other reason is, she's got this really cool quit smoking product. It's no nicotine, it's all natural, and it's really effective, gets great results. And we found a niche market that she can go to that has direct interaction with her ideal target client. So she's asked us not to share who that is, but the whole point again here is where are your customers, who's already dealing with them, and how can you be talking to the people who have your customers in a way that is so beneficial to them to introduce you to them. Is that too many then? That makes sense. It's like, who's already dealing with your customers? How can you deal with them in a way that's just going to be so valuable for them that it would be an absolute no-brainer for the people you want to partner with to introduce you to their customers, because it's going to benefit them as well. And this is just a classic example of that. And the biggest thing for Louise, as John mentioned, is the steel energy, especially the mechanic profile, is a lot of perfectionism in there, which is great. And it was like, at what point do we define this is ready to go? And that was one of the big things for her too. When we go, right, this is the point that we needed to get it to feel good. And even if it's not as perfect as it could be, it's perfect enough that we can go to the market and get a result with it. So we said,
yeah. Just adding to before we get too much into that, Pat. Around the actual target market, and I just want to give everybody just like a little insight to this, which is sometimes the partner or the bridge, the person or the industry or the business that you find, or the businesses that you find have your target audience, sometimes the target audience is mixed in there with a whole bunch of others. So the question you should be asking yourself, it's not, we're not going wide, we're just going to go to these guys because our target audience could be in here. We know that the target audience is in there, but can they actually pull out their target audience for you? So if you ask that question, which is, because most of us are asking, who has my target audience, like only, like that's the only people that have. Sometimes it's, and this is where she found hers, which was who has my target audience and can pull them out or identify them easily for me. Now, of course, they're smokers. So, essentially that was, quite a visual identification. But, these guys could do that very easily for her because of the kind of business they're in. So that's just another way of looking for your target audience, which really helped to find that. And certainly has helped a number of other clients find partners to work with who they wouldn't otherwise have considered because it wasn't so clearly defined in the target audience that they had.
Yeah, absolutely. What I loved about working with Louise, John, was the the belief that she got in herself when she got some good strategy, some good support that wasn't just generic. It wasn't just, hey, here's our blueprint that's one size fits all and everybody should do these things and then off you go. It was like we really, looked at what was going to work for her in her business with her unique situation. And when she got that, she was like, right, I can do this now. And off she went, right? It was fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. So this next one, and that's all about the plan and getting the plan really right and everything else. This next one is all about how well you prepare. And this P is probably one of the biggest ones. And one of the people that has done that so well with us is this lady named Joanna Fedler, who came to us with her book to say, hey guys, I've got a book launch in March next year, and she came to us in September, October last year. I've got a launch in March next year. I need to get ready for it. I need to prepare because I've never actually been able to get a level of success. And she's a multi book author. She has, I think, 9 already that she's written.
9 published works, yep.
Yeah, and only one that had some success in a totally different country, and she had no idea how that happened, and she had somebody who presented. So all the rest of hers were...
She sold 500,000 copies of a book in Germany, right? I had no idea how that happened.
Yep.
That's pretty random.
So she was really keen to get one of this one, which is called Love in the Time of Contempt, really out to the market. So again, we took her through the first two, which is what is the promise, and her promise is extraordinary. It's 1 million connected parents. 1 million connected parents. So this is like, how do you create parents who are connected with their teenagers this way? And a little bit of background, the Love in Time of Contempt is a book for parents of teenagers. So she said that this is what I'm up for. I'm up for really helping parents of teenagers really connect with their teenagers in a whole different way. And basically the strategy here was basically a preparation strategy. What could we do where we could get great leverage from other people, where Joanne didn't have to do it all? Because in Joanne's world, she had to do everything herself. So she had been doing everything herself. So this was a big issue for her, and a big thing for her to just go, you know what, I can give that up. So the strategy we came up there with her is this idea of, let's find 200 people who become your ambassadors. Wouldn't that be cool? She goes, yeah, but where would I find these people? So we went back to the place where you find lots of people who love and trust you already, Facebook. And basically what we did was, rather than going out and send something up to all this activity where we're going to go online and we're going to do these posts to Facebook and these Twitter feeds, and we're going to because like that was Joanne's current her line of fire, which is like, let's fire a whole bunch of stuff out there and let's just build up a whole bunch of momentum because of all of this energy we put in. She's
pages and pages and pages of ideas of things that she wanted to do. And we're going, Joanne, you don't have time in the day to do half a page of those things. Like, this is insane. They're all great ideas. There's no way you're going to get all that done.
Exactly. She needed a team of minions.
She needs an army.
An army of minions. So we turned minions into these advocates, and basically what we did was we put up her promotion plan through this, or her campaign plan through this was, what could I offer people that would have them just put their hand up and say, I'd love to work with you, because there's a great package of something for them in that. But also, could I find the people who would love to support me on this anyway? And basically, she put out she basically went out to a number of people who saw that target audience, the parents of teenagers, as their target audience. So she went to them to say, hey, would you like access to my target audience? And if you would like that, then I'd like you to put together some things that you would give to a small community at first, the 200 people, that would have them want to come and use your services and whatever else. And so to essentially put together a beautiful gift basket of goodies and vouchers and everything else.
Day spas and all sorts of stuff that parents of teenagers would love.
Yeah, and then the big prize for the person who had the most impact and really helped her drive this forward was to win a 3-night stay at a wonderful spa with everything put on, dinners and everything else. So that was a big prize for that. What happened, of course, is that we got that together within 1 week of putting this together, and a week of them putting it up on Facebook. We had about 170 people put their hand up to say, Joan, we'd love to support you. And her primary focus was, finding mums, but and most of the gifts and like that were kind of, more towards that. However, we had a whole bunch of guys as well put their hand up and say, yes, we'd love to support you. By the time we got to the end of our program, she already had her 200. So she hit her 200 almost to the number. She was just over 200. And it was like, wow, when you put that intention out and when you're so clear on those numbers, bang, geez, they get delivered amazingly well. Yeah. What happened after that is what you see here, which is 2 months later, she launches on Amazon in February. The one that you don't see here was the first few days where she instantly went to number 3 in her category, and which is the parenting of teenagers. And within a week later, she had gone to number 1, and she had outstripped the two other books that were above her who had been there forever and are all best New York Times bestsellers and all sorts of things, amazing books in her category. She's outstripped them, and she continues to. Why did that happen? Well, part of the reason was when she launched on Amazon, within hours and within 24 hours, 48 hours, she had about 70 odd reviews, which were 5-star reviews. And these weren't just one-liner reviews. These were people writing 3 or 4 paragraphs about just how amazing her book was. And of course, they'd all been given pre-copies of that and stuff like that. They're all speaking from that place of clarity. And of course, what happened with all of this, and because she has created such a wave, her publisher got so excited that in March, the CEO of the publishing company, which is unheard of for this company, got up and actually did the introduction for Joanne at the very first book signing, the biggest one in Sydney. And since then, she's had dozens of book signings. She's been in South Africa. She did a full launch there. She's since come back. She's flat out with people asking for her to speak on their stage and all that type of thing, just because she sat and was clear about how do I prepare for what I'm really looking to achieve with this, and how do I prepare it by not doing it myself.
Such a clever strategy, so simple again. And, again, the same 2 questions. How can you use this idea in your business? And really the concept here is like, I don't need to do it all myself. I've got all these amazing ideas. How can I get people involved and to do it for me? And she didn't even have to, pay any money for the spas and all the other stuff. It didn't cost her anything because they wanted to get in front of her audience as well. So everybody's winning from this deal. And, how can I in my business have an army of minions promoting me and doing all this extraordinary stuff for me? So that's one question. Of course, the other question is, what are the opportunities that are right in front of me based on the challenges that I've got in my business right now that I can't even see that they're opportunities because I'm just too close to it? And what could I be doing if I could really see that? John, let's keep cranking on because we are not even halfway, but we're well over half time. So
well, we're number 4, so we are over halfway, just only. so this is yes. Yeah, this is definitely your sharing, Pat, and we're going to go see Jess in Sydney in a moment. But this is all about positioning.
Well, not actually in a moment, in a week, but it's like a moment, isn't it?
in the greatest scheme of things, yes.
So this is absolutely positioning. So when Jess came to us, she had she's a switched on businesswoman. She has a very successful optometrist business, a Specsavers franchise that she's running, making good money from that. And her passion, her love is food. Right? She's a foodie. She loves organic. She loves Indian curries. She loves Ayurvedic stuff. And she's had this dream of importing these beautiful Ayurvedic curries, all organic from India, and selling it into the Australian market and then creating a whole movement around that. So she'd gone out, she'd found suppliers in India. She had all her labels done up, her branding, her logos, her website built. She'd ordered food. She had $20,000 worth of curry powders all bagged up, ready for retail in her garage. And she came to us and said, "This is where I'm at. This is really exciting." We went, "Great." And she says, "Got no customers. I don't know how to sell it. Right? What do I do?" So we worked with her on the process and kind of looked at, all right, what are we gonna do here? And
well, first of all, what was her best strategy, Pat? We had share that first, because she had a strategy, but she was kind of stuck with that already.
I don't even know what was it like. Just put it up on the website and hope people buy it or something.
Well, basically, she was going to go online. She was going to go find a whole bunch of her target market online. Go get put it together an advertising budget, and find people who are searching for that, and go direct retail and sell it that way. And hope that she at some stage during all of this learning, she'd be able to turn a profit. But had no idea where to even start with that. But just a quite concerned that wasn't actually the right way either.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to give you an idea, I mean, 20 grand in hard cost for the curry powder with a retail value of about $90,000 and an average sale price of about $60. So she's going to have to find a lot of customers to move that volume of stock, right? And she's going, how do I even, like, where do I start with that? I've got the website. How do we get people to go there? And then if we can get them to go there, how do we get them to actually click the thing and put their credit card in and, buy a box of bags of curry powder? And of course, John, in his brilliance as he does, just went, well, look, what's the opportunity here, and what's the alternative, and how else could we do this? So we worked with Jess for a couple of months, and really got her campaign cranking. And by the end of that time, she has moved all the stock. She has a handful of distributors nationally who are putting her product into their retail stores, and it all sold very quickly. And the distributors were saying, look, really sorry that we're placing such small orders for our first order, but we promise the next one will be bigger. And Jess is going, oh, that's fine. I haven't got any more stock, right? This is small orders. Wow. Right? Ordering, hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of stock at a time. And she's got people in Singapore wanting to sell it. She's got people wanting to put her onto a TV show. She's going all around the country doing little cooking demonstrations in the major retail, organic retail stores and larger markets. So many wonderful opportunities. And again, I mean, we can get into all the detail of how that happened, but really just a cool example of what are you not seeing in your business because you're too close to it. So we looked at Jess. Look, you could definitely do a retail thing. We could do a wholesale thing. Let's probably going to end up doing both, but let's do the wholesale thing first because this is the most leverage in that. So we got that one done, and now we're working with Jess on actually getting her website to perform, and she's going to open up the retail side of her business as well over the next 3 to 6 months. We've got a whole plan for her to do that as well.
So what's actually we're saying here? It's not that it's a bad strategy to go and do the retail side. It just wasn't the right strategy for the time when she came to us. It's a great secondary strategy. The first strategy is going to cost her almost nothing at the end of the day to put on those distributors. Yes, it cost her in her profit margins on the distribution side, but she still made her. She still sold $90,000 of product, and maybe she would have made, she was going to make probably 36% less on that because she went to a distributor. And of course, her pricing had to be right and all that type of thing for us to even give her that kind of direction, which it all worked. So, this is just like going again. That was the biggest bang for her buck. It was the fastest, easiest, and most effortless way for her to get her brand out into the market and to have people actually going, we love this now. And now they're coming online and actually ordering from her directly as well as us now helping her run a retail campaign online.
Needless to say, Jess is stoked.
There's
What would you say? When I started this fantastic program, I had a great product, strong branding, supply chain ready for high volumes, packaging perfected, a clear vision of where I wanted my business to be, and no customers, and a silent fear of moving forward. 8 weeks later, I have a team to help me grow my region, national distribution, a huge smile on my face, and real belief that now I'm ready to live out my dreams. Jess, the foodie.
Jeez, cool.
Good on you, Jess. What an inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And she's moved so quickly as well because the confidence that has given her has allowed her to very quickly now move into the retail. Like, seriously, it's only 2 or 3 months on. She's going, okay, let's, there's money coming in now. Let's start spending it and actually building the retail arm. And within a year, she's going to have, potentially $1 million business. In fact, more than potentially guaranteed $1 million business. And then some probably from what I'm seeing. So this one here is about, and I'll share this one very quickly because we are running along in time. In fact, Pat, could you? We're about 1 minute to our hour. Can we just check with everybody and see if they're okay with us just sharing a few more. How many have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3 more to share.
Absolutely. Look, we absolutely, value your time. Thank you so much for showing up and allowing us to share what we love. Like I said, yes, keep going. Yes, please share. Yes, that's fine. Thank you so much. I reckon, what do you reckon, John? Another probably
15,
look,
maybe
90
20
minutes isn't bad for a webinar, right? So we're at 60 minutes. If we've got another 15, 20 minutes, if we'll be done in under 90 minutes, I think we're all grown ups here. We've got that kind of attention span.
Take all the time you need. No, we're not going to do that. We will go, and I can see 15 minutes maximum. Okay, good. Right, so thank you, everybody. Let's share these other few. So this one here is Megazip, and Megazip is somebody who we met in Bali as well, who also did our 30-day business incubator program. And Ed, who is the head of marketing for Megazip, was working with us, and basically they have a day which is basically the boss is away day, and you'll see it up in the middle here that says the boss is away. It's got a specific name of it in Singapore, but it's called the boss is away day. And on the boss is away day, Megazip Adventure Park traditionally in the past few years has had their worst day on year on year. And they would expect less than a dozen people to show up at the adventure park on the boss's away day. He was saying to us, "Hey, I'd love to turn this around and get a whole bunch more people showing up, because obviously we're losing money on this day, and I'd love to turn this into a profitable day and utilize the boss's away day to actually encourage people to come here." So we helped him essentially. Two parts of this. The main part of the assistance here was getting the messaging right, putting together something, an ad and some copy and a little strategy around Facebook essentially, which they did very simply, that would help him get the message out, and more importantly get more people at their park. And essentially what they did was, we're going to give some free tickets to people who come along to the park. Obviously for them, they have a specific amount per head that people spend in the park, and therefore they know that they can actually give a bunch of tickets away, and if those people show up, they're going to be able to make profit as long as they get enough of those people there. So that was the main part of the campaign. Let's see if we can encourage people by putting this free ticket and dangling under their nose. What ended up happening, and there was a whole bunch of work done on this ad and the ads that you see here. What ended up happening was that he spent about $100 in sort of boosting the post, but it's like, I think, $200.
A whole $100.
$100. $100.
Yeah, it's $100.
So very little. But essentially what he did was he made sure that he was connecting in with the communities that he wanted to. And what happened was that this thing went viral, and you'll see there's 70 shares on that. It went viral in the Chinese community. And when we spoke to him, just after that went out there, he was pretty blown away. I'm gonna leave this for you to share, Pat, because this is a pretty funny share.
Cracked us up. We're having a group call, and we said, "How'd it go, Ed? How was the promotion?" And the copy that he had, the brochure that he was going to put out, the promotion that it's just sucked. Right? We did a lot of work in actually making it look good and getting it to the point where it said what it needed to say, and got it looking really, really good. And we said, what did you reckon, Ed? And the whole way through, he was, probably a bit underwhelmed, a bit under-inspired, and a bit kind of, I'm doing this because the boss has told me to do it, and, not really what's the point in promoting this day because no one comes on this day and whatever. So then we speak to him the week after, and I went nuts. I didn't expect it to be, this is his exact words, it was absolutely nuts. I didn't expect it to be as successful as it was. I thought only about 50 people would show up, and it turned out that over 1,000 people came on the day. And I said, well, hang on a minute, Ed. Did you say 1,000 people? I thought we misheard him. I said, yeah, that's right. It was our worst day on record last year and has been every year since the park's opened. And, we spent about $100 on Facebook boosts and advertising. It just went nuts. It was crazy. So this is an example of how with the right promotion, the right market, and the right advertising, $100, which is nothing, is gone from maybe 50 people or a dozen the year before to over 1,000 people. And it's a rainy day. You can see they've all got wet hair and they're standing out in the rain. And they still came, and they couldn't even take, they take like 600 people in the park or something at maximum capacity. So they had to turn nearly half of them away. And luckily they had vouchers there. So everybody that they couldn't let in on the day, they did a really cool deal for them and invited them back. And, just a massively successful campaign, far in excess of anything they could have imagined. And again, just an example of how, one, think about how you can use this in your business, but two, Ed was not even looking for that. He's going, this day is just going to suck, and that's just how it is, right? But what's your biggest problem in your business right now, and how could that be potentially, with a bit of the right attention and a bit of the right ideas and strategy and maybe the right conversation, how could that be such an extraordinary opportunity for you?
Mm. And this goes to people, everybody here who's thinking, in our industry, this is in general a quiet time, or December's always quiet, and or January's always quiet, whatever. Well, how do you turn that around so that December and January become your biggest, your two biggest months? Because you can do that, and we've just done that with our business this last year. So December and January were our biggest months from the previous year, and still currently the biggest months for this year. So what was traditionally even our quiet months, we've turned into some of the biggest successes and biggest months for us. So, Pat, I'm gonna go really quickly on this one here, because this one here is a large project that we're working with. But this is all about what does it take to have put an offer together, build an online launch strategy, and what does it take to have people come through a funnel and convert into sales, and turn that into something that's profitable. And I come down to this part, which is all about going through all of those aspects and getting down to producing this thing. And produce is all, for me, it's about really not only just producing something and hoping that people are going to use it. This is about being so clear that all the way through that we've got a proven concept. We've got, in this case, the myessence protein powder, and we've got a whole bunch of clients already who have purchased it and pre-purchased it and using it. We've got a clear plan to go to market. We've got a clear offer to make to the market through the plan. We are well prepared. We've got all of our testimonials put together. We've got all of our extra value put together. We've got a rock solid, irresistible package for people to be able to select through. We've got our promotion all really ready. Our positioning real clear. We've got our promotion together with that, and we're going out to that one target market that we're going to be promoting through. And we've got our entire advertising marketing team so clear on helping us achieve those numbers. And you then end up with a product that essentially is set up for success. And this one here, these guys have a really, again, a big promise to not only themselves but to their shareholders and to their board, which is we're gonna sell $1 million worth of this product this year. So to do that, we've got to be so clear on how on the process and on the measures around this to make sure that we're tweaking and working with them to really get that converting at the highest level. And this one, I guess it's more of a traditional online advertising campaign, and not a huge amount to show other than really talking about how it takes what it takes to actually set up yourself for success, and the fact that we talk about the 6 P's to running highly profitable promotions is all about what what is your process? What is your strategy that you're going to be following consistently that's going to allow you to set yourself up for success? And yes, there's a couple more P's in there, and we can share that in another time with you. But essentially, these ones here are the primary ones. You get these right, these are the ones that are going to help you set up yourself up for success. I'm gonna just click on this one here. Can you still see that screen over there, Pat? I'm going to see.
Yeah, perfect, John.
So this is just a little video from Adam.
This is Adam, right? He's general manager of. Oh, I can't hear it, John.
Oh, true.
That's no good.
Hold on. Let's just do that. Right. Oopsie.
Whoops. So this is Adam, general manager of My Essence, talking about the promotion that we did, and just his experience of that.
Hi, my name's Adam Houlihan. I'm the general manager of a company here in Australia called My Essence. We manufacture a range of certified organic skincare and superfoods, and we export them pretty much all over the world. Recently, our marketing team completed the 8-week Campaign Mastery Academy program with Patrick and John. The brief that we gave the guys was to develop a program that would reinvigorate a dormant part of our database. Together with the guys, we came up with a 3-pronged approach to this. And just the first part of this, which was completely free, developed a return on that campaign of 400% above what we were expecting, at about 40 times the cost of the whole program itself. So to say that we're fans of the program is pretty much an understatement. The framework, though, that the guys developed not only held us in good stead for that campaign, but really is going to be a framework we will use for all future campaigns forevermore. So thanks, guys. It was awesome. And I highly recommend that if you want to develop a seriously good campaign for your business, get together with John and Patrick as soon as you can.
And
thanks, Adam.
and Adam's talking about or alluding to a different another program that we did, well, how we worked with their business, but we'll share that another day. I want to finish off with this share, and this is about giving you another P in this, which is performance. And performance is what do you do once you've actually got the attraction and you've got some sales and you've got things moving forward, or you've got people putting their hand up and you're saying, yeah, we actually want to do something with you. And this is really, Pat, this is the stuff that Pat and his team do really well with follow-ups and nurturing people and coaching and all those types of things that Pat is just brilliant at, and why I worked so hard to get him over to Maui. This example is actually a little bit different, and this example, this is jumping around. This example is around the question that we asked, or that Jessica asked us, which was, hey guys, now that we've got this strategy in place, and you heard the strategy, which was let's go out through distributors. Now that we've got that in place, how do we actually now get to the people who are buying the product so that we actually know who they are? And we came up with this really beautiful strategy, which you can see her logo and her branding is just stunning. And we came up with this idea, which was, let's take that branding and let's turn that into something that they can fold open or open up on the outside of their packaging. And we'll call it the Open Your Heart campaign. And inside of that, when they open it up, it'll say that the moment you come online and you register on the website, automatically you feed a family in India who couldn't otherwise, who are not able to sustain their own family. So we've now got this whole different approach, which was let's go through these guys, and then let's get ourselves in front of the audience. Let's get a whole bunch of people loving what we're doing, and then let's go find out who they are by creating a mechanism that allows them to just go, you know what, love what these guys are about. I love why they're doing what they're doing, and because I love why they do what they do, I'm going to go in and connect in with them. And as a great mentor, my mentor Paul Dunn speaks about Simon Sinek, this whole idea that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do what you do. You want the whole idea of this is connect with people who believe what you believe, and this type of campaign really would help her connect with just those people who believe what she believes, and that's just her commitment and her give back to the communities that she's supporting by bringing these products over anyway. So going to finish on this one, Pat, which is our perfect, and I'm going to let you do this. This
was so much fun. This was so Tyler Tolman is a health guru here in Bali. For anyone that doesn't know, originally from the States. His father's Don Tolman, who's a long time, big time health guru. And he runs health retreats here in Bali and juice fasts and does extraordinary things, heals people of all sorts of, chronic debilitating diseases, helps people raising consciousness on the planet, doing amazing things. And he just been around Australia and spoke to about 1,000 people in Australia over the series of Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, and a number of events that he'd done, and came home and thought he was all done. He thought, well, this was great. I made a bunch of sold about 20% of the people who came to see him into his high level programs, made a whole good chunk of cash off that, and was ready to, this was like October last year, and was ready to take November and December off and get ready for next year. And John and I came and talked to him and said, well, look, Tyler, what about the other 800 people that didn't buy from you? Maybe we should talk to them and see if we can, help them out and transform their life as well. So Tyler said, well, what a great idea. So we did that. And this was a little bit of a different campaign. Rather than working with Tyler on the strategy for him to implement, we actually provided an end-to-end service for Tyler. So it's a higher level service, and he gave us a whole chunk of cash up front, and then we took a whole bunch of the cash of the money that we made as well off the back end. But basically what that allowed him to do was take a couple of months off. What it allowed us to do was sell his product for him. And he was getting emails from his people going, wow, this is so extraordinary, Tyler, that you're running this amazing promotion. We're so grateful for the opportunity. Thank you so much. I spoke to some of you guys and I really appreciate it. That wasn't even his guys. It was our guys. Right? It was my guys. So really, really cool promotion, and, put an extra couple $100,000 in the bank for him. And we finished that promotion. Well, there was two parts to it. We finished the second one right up on the 23rd of December. So like a day before Christmas. And in a time when typically, you can't sell anything at that time because it's the Christmas rush and people are buying presents and we put a couple $100,000 in the bank for him, which, needless to say, he was actually, have we got a video on Tyler talking about that rather than me talking about that, John?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's pretty chuffed. Yeah. Pretty chuffed, needless to say. So the whole point here is when it's done, when your promotion is done, when it's all over, what else can you do, right? How much more is there in this? And we look at, it was just this stack of cash that he just left lying on the table, and he could have left it there and never known, and it would have been fine. Let's come along with a wheelbarrow and scoop all this in, right? So again, the question is where are you leaving cash on the table in your business? Where's there an opportunity to go back to maybe your past clients who have bought from you or people that haven't bought from you with an offer that's just a no-brainer, with something that's so exciting, so compelling that they've just got to get involved in it? And how can they be, re-engaging them and inviting them to do something with you that's going to be good for them and good for you as well? To, again, like I said right at the start, how can you have that, maximize the impact that you're having in your community and the positive, the positive impact that you're having on the planet? And maybe when you think it's all done, maybe you're just getting started and there's a whole lot more that you could be doing. That was certainly the case with, in this case, with what we did with Tyler. Yeah, let's hear what Tyler's got to say in his special Tyler quirky way. Volume again, John. Just whip those headphones out. Oh, you're on mute, John. Just start that one again and unmute yourself. That'd be great.
That's a clever idea.
It's nice to see you, Tyler. Now we'd like to hear you.
Hey guys, this is Tyler Tolman here, and I just wanted to take a minute to take my hat off, not that I'm wearing one, for my good friend John Abbott and his team. I just want to give you a little bit of information behind these guys. Fantastic team to work with, by the way. I run programs here in Bali, big juice fast, 7-day programs, 30-day programs. I have online products, a bunch of different things that I offer to the world. And, John Abbott's been a good friend of mine for a very long time. He approached me and just said, hey, why don't we work together on some campaigns, essentially for creating some sales type of stuff to get out to your database, your network. And so he came in, literally him and his team came in and sat down with me and my team and just brainstormed. And these guys are absolutely brilliant. Like, just the input that they put in with our own business. We actually named one of our programs during the time we had with them, looking at pricing and structures and all these different things. It was really invaluable to sit down and have conversations with these guys who are obviously highly versed in the business that they do. Very knowledgeable and fun to work with. Really, really amazing guys, big open hearts. I really felt great working with them because the feedback I got from my customers made me feel like not only was I, going out marketing and creating new sales for my business, but I was actually, my customers were connecting on a really powerful level and sending me even emails like, thank you so much for running this competition. So it was like fantastic. Not only are people loving this and having a connection, but they were also buying into programs. And, we've sold, I'm not even sure, probably around $200,000 worth of sales and a couple of little campaigns that we did. Yeah, working with these guys has been fantastic. I highly recommend working with these guys. We're definitely going to be producing other competitions and things in the future and working together. Definitely a good team to work with. It's just been easy flowing and a lot of fun. So if you get an opportunity to work with these guys, if you have an existing business where maybe you need some marketing and some sales stuff going on, these guys are definitely the way to go. So thanks for listening. Have a great day.
Thanks, Tyler. So again, the opportunity for you is where's the challenge in your business where you're working your little tookers off trying to get some results when you could, potentially hand that over to someone to produce a far greater result for you, and you can focus on other important areas of your business. Where is that opportunity for you that you're not even seeing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess the reason why I left Tyler to the end and to share on that one is that, as Patrick said, at the end of the year, at November, December, he was done for the year, and we, he's happy for us to share this. We closed up at about $270,000 for him for the year, which adds a massive extra income for his business, which he just would never have seen, would never have considered, because he's following a strategy that has worked for him so far, and it was working, still is working perfectly. However, in bringing other people in to have a look at the way that you're doing things and getting a third person's perspective, and not a perspective that is a specific perspective around this is the best marketing strategy. So this is, because it works for me, like everybody's got to do the same thing. Jeff Walker has a great thing called Launch, and yeah, that's great for some people, but it's not great for everybody. And as much as it is a great strategy, and people ask me, hey John, do you recommend Jeff Walker? So I go, yeah, I would if it was the right strategy for the people who are sitting in front of me. So far, out of all the people that I've worked with, I haven't actually recommended the Jeff Walker strategy yet, because it's not that it's a bad strategy, it's a brilliant strategy. And so people ask me about what about this strategy and that strategy. They're all great. They are brilliant. What's the right one for you right now? What's going to be the simplest, fastest, highest returning next strategy that's going to work for you? So the offer really from this evening is, if you saw some of yourself in this, and I always see myself in this, and that's why we love sharing it. If you saw a bit of yourself in this, and you go, you know what, maybe there's better ways. Maybe there's somebody who I can work with who's going to actually take a whole bunch of information into consideration and actually give me something that's really going to set me on a clear path that's going to help me grow really, really quickly. If you're that person who's been a little bit stuck in getting the message out, or a little bit stuck in actually just getting out to the market because of a number of things that might have shown up that's stopping you, whatever it might be that you're dealing with, that's not allowing you to get that strategy and more so the actions that you take done, then maybe a one-on-one session like this is going to really help you clear that up. There's that beautiful saying that Anthony Robbins which is like, take massive action. This is not about taking, but massive action is great as long as it's
appropriate
massive action for you. Or you can take lots
of... You cut a dumb strategy and you take massive action, you're going to get bad results faster, right?
Exactly. Or otherwise you're just going to exhaust yourself and you're going to wonder why. Why is it that I'm not getting the result I want to get? So I want to make that offer to everybody who's on the call. If you want to do that and you'd love to catch up with us, simply just pop into the Q&A and say, yes, I'd love to get that clarity, and we'll get a connection up with you after this, and we'll book you in. We'll spend some time with you, either myself or Pat, and work with you on a strategy that's going to really be the most appropriate for you. If you're feeling a little bit gun shy on here and you just want to think about it a little bit more, then just shoot an email directly to myself, John at Results Platform, and I'm very, very happy to pass it on. You'll get an email from Mina, our Patrick's beautiful wife, who looks after us, and she's going to set up a time and appointment with you for you to do that. And again, this is not about the $100. I'm sure you guys get that it's for us, this is more about finding the people who are committed to actually really finding that right place for them, the right strategy that's going to work for them, and giving them that assistance and making sure that we're serving you best in this. And we know that just from the few stories that we've shared there, 98% of the stories that we shared today, the reason why they got the success was because of the very first call they had with either myself or with Pat, which was the strategy call, which was, let's get really clear about the right strategy for you before you journey. And certainly you can start the journey and be pushing the car uphill, or be in many cases pushing 2 or 3 cars uphill, because you're trying 4 different strategies to 3 or 4 different target markets, and none of them are working, or you've got 3 or 4 different businesses, even better, 3 or 4 different businesses that you're trying to push up the hill. And we have one of our clients right now who we're working with, who has 3 businesses, and we're helping her relieve herself of 2 so that we can actually get 1 working, because all 3 of them are failing, and she's, her and her partner are have been stressed about that. And the moment we were able to show her how to amalgamate the 3 together, and how it actually made total sense that by combining the 3 together in the way that we made the promise, it actually had far more value to the 1 company than the 3 companies running as separate entities anyway. You realize that, oh my goodness, I can see so much more opportunity in us building this going forward. So we're here for you. We'd love to connect with you. We have limited time. I am traveling around Australia. We're running events and stuff like that for one of our clients, and of course we would love to obviously chat to as many people. But assumably, from what I'm seeing right now on even my calendar and on Pat over the next couple of weeks, we've probably got a few, probably a handful of spaces available for whoever wants to take those up. So we'd love to serve you. Again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your interaction. Great to have.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun.
Pat, would you like to finish off?
Yeah, look, absolutely. Thanks, Josh. Sorry, I thought you were still on a roll there. Yeah, I mean, look, nothing to add to that. It's been such a pleasure to be here to serve you this evening, to share what we love and what we've been experimenting with and what we've been finding is working really well, and some really cool success stories. And just encourage you to look at, like I've been saying, for sure how you can use some of the ideas that we've shared in your business if they're appropriate, but more what's the opportunity, what's the biggest challenge in your business, and what's the opportunity that's hiding in that. And if we could have some time to just have a quick chat, map out some strategy, look at where you're at, where you'd like to be, these are by far and away our favorite conversations in the world to have, where you come to us with your problems and what's not working in your business, or what's holding you back, or what the struggles are. And we look at where the biggest opportunity in that for you is, and turn that painful, that thorn in your side into, just the most wonderful and profitable opportunity. So really looking forward. And we've got a bunch of comments in the chat too. So I don't want to name names at this point, but thank you so much for all your encouragement and all your interaction the whole way through. Thank you so much for your willingness to show up now. And we're really looking forward to. We've still got new people coming on. There's names on here now that I didn't see a little while ago. So welcome to the call. We're done. That's a wrap from us. Thanks so much for everybody, and we look forward to catching up with you soon.
Wonderful. Thanks, everyone.